Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I don't know if David Null's going to make it. He's a little bit under the weather tonight, and if he doesn't show up, that's all right, too. We need to send him healing energy. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here tonight, and with blessings and everything, because that's what David would say. Anyway, tonight we're going to do whatever we can do. And if you want to come and join me on the show, let me know in the comments and I will send you a link and you can be my co-host tonight because it's just the way it is. But tonight we're going to talk about the Inuit Indians, the Eskimos, all of that good stuff. And it's going to be good. Anyway, so thank you all for being here tonight. Deborah L. Smith, Lucky Stone, the Architect. Oh, yes. Yes. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the Inuit Indians. And if you want to join me as a co-host tonight, because David is under the weather, I'm going to put this in the chat, and there you go. If you want to fill in for him, you go right ahead. I'll be happy to have you on. So anyway, while I get my presentation up, let's see if I can do this. Usually I got my co-host, my trusty co-host, David Null on. So let's send him some good healing energy. He's feeling under the weather. He's been sick for the whole week. And I wish him well. And I talked to him this afternoon. He seems in good spirits, but, he needs a little time to rest, and we appreciate him so much. We really do. Kind of miss him there tonight. That's for sure. But anyway, so what we'll do, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to go back in time to an earlier day, and we're just gonna go back in time. How is that? We'll just go back. Here's a good show, and we'll just say that he just like if he was here. How about that? Not that we're gonna. There's Elderberry. Elderberry is in the house, and we'll just do this. How about we do this? We'll just pretend David's here, and just like the show is starting. Oh, you know what? I bet you I forgot to include the sound. I bet you. Let's do this again. I bet you I forgot the sound part of this. And and that's how it always works. I forgot the sound. Also share tab audio. Yes. Did I share the tab? I don't get it. I don't get the audio. Oh yeah, see, no tone. Okay. I had to turn the audio on. And then it says turn audio on. Okay. And there we go. Now let's try it. Oops. And now I screwed it up again. Oh wow. That's what I get for thinking. And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Oh, tonight we got a great show for y'all. We are going to be doing some more great stories tonight. like always, with my co-host, David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers. And thank you for coming and joining me tonight.
Good evening, Robert, and good evening, everybody. And we always welcome you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And we always hope that you're doing as best as possible. And we're always sending prayers out, hoping that you can do better tomorrow. So welcome and thank you for showing up. We always appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, and there you go. If we don't got him on, we can just reminisce and go back to, what would be like if he was here, because I'm sure he's a missing joining us tonight, because you know how he is. He likes to be here. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Inuit Indians, which means Eskimos. Yes, Eskimos. Who doesn't like Eskimos? And why did I pick Eskimos for tonight? Because it's winter. It's going to be Christmas is the season. And that means we're going to have snow and cold. And just to remind you all how lucky you got it, we're going to go with the Inuit Indians, meaning that they're living in igloos, they're freezing their butts off, eating some whale meat and fish, and trying to survive a polar bear attack. So with that in mind, what else can you say? Oh yeah, thank you, Elderberry. Thank you. Go is in the house. Yes, operator error. Yes, of course, that's on my part. And Deborah L. Smith, thank you for joining me. And let's see. Healing energy to Hawkeye. Yes, send him some healing energy. He needs it. Yes. So, anyway, yes, they were making sealed bags. Yeah. Okay. So we you don't want to look at my ugly face too long without seeing some good stuff here. Okay, Inuit Indians. They're a group of culturally linguistic, unlike me, who can't speak because my tongue is always tied, unique indigenous people of the Arctic and subarctic regions whose homelands encompass, and I'll misspell this, Galactically, Nuktika, Greenland, a self-governing overseas administrative division of Denmark. Yes, Greenland is part of Denmark. Arctic, Canada, northern and southwestern Alaska. In the United States, and part of Chukotka is in the far east regions of Russia. Chukotka? Yeah, I guess that's how it's spelled. The culturally related Unagan, Uganaz, and the Uganaks Aleutians live in the Aleutian Islands. Yeah, Aleutians being illusions. As a group, the Inuits occupy regions that are almost the most extensive and northernmost in the world. The border Inuit population is estimated to be more than 180,000. The Inuit refer to themselves differently according to their dialects and sense of identity. In Greenland, the term Kaleti West Greenlanders, or the Inuki, I hope that's how it's spelled, and the Lit, I can say that, the Eastern Greenlanders, are used. In Canada, the terms Inuvialuit, Inuita, and the Inuit are applied. The Northern Alaska, the term Inupiat is used, and in southwestern Alaska, the terms Yupiti, Yupi, and the Kupit are used. Other terms such as Yupigit, I guess that's how it is. I'm not Indian, so I can't say it. Supigi are used in the Chukotka in Russia, Far Eastern St. Lawrence Islands of Alaska. And if you guys can say that any better than me, well, you can just join me and help me out, because my co-host is not here tonight. There's a link in the chat. So anyway, what do we got next is, let's see. Oops. There we go. Sorry. The Inuit share a common language that gave birth to a variety of dialects as a result of their great distances between Inuit populations. I guess so. I mean, if you're living in Alaska, you sure aren't talking to people in Greenland. Among those dialects are, oh boy, and I can't say any of these names. There's a bunch of them. We'll just say there's a whole mess of them. Oh, let's see. Sorry about that. Yeah, all the big words made me cough. These dialects are closely related to the the Shukatun and the Yucatan and the Yupatis tongue languages spoken by the Supiti and the Yupati and the Yupatgat in Alaska and the Chokota. Some art anthropologists argue that the Yupi are culturally distinct from other Inuit peoples, but the Yupati have made a political decision to be designated as Inuit. In your face, people, right? The term Eskimo long applied to the Inuit, that's kind of how we all know them, may have come from whatever it is, of Eastern Canada, who have a word in their language resembling Eskimo. That means the eaters of raw flesh. Not cannibals, but eaters of raw flesh. Inuit never called themselves Eskimos until the term was introduced by the Southerners. Once Europeans and others began using the term in the 16th century, it negatively denoted the eating of raw flesh and increasingly assumed the culturally negative connotation, as the term perpetuated a stereotype that degraded the Inuit. The word Inuit translates to human beings in English. Despite the more recent interpretations of the meaning, the term Eskimo, once widely used in Alaska, is considered pejorative and offensive. So don't be calling those Eskimos Eskimos. Call them something else. By the 21st century, it had been widely supplanted by the name Inuit. So don't call Eskimos Eskimos, call them Inuits. The Inuit are politically organized with their own jurisdictions as well as internationally. Founded in 1977, the Pan-Arctic Inuit Circumpolar Council, the ICC, is a non-governmental organization that seeks to strengthen unity among the Inuit. Well, how about that? I think we read that one. And lots of dialects, and they live around the polar bears. Go figure. Oh, let's see what else we got on them. So this was a really fun one to do because we all know that they live, up in the Arctic, and they have things called reindeer. What are these reindeer eating? Caribou, whatever you want to call them. I have no idea what these things are eating. Lichens on the rocks, maybe some seaweed or something, because obviously there's nothing there for them to eat. They're digging in the snow for something. Am I wrong? Anyway, these people would dress as I got a lot of pictures of their dress because they would dress in furs, what they had around them. They would have seal skin, beaver. They would have whale, anything, caribou, things like that. They would hit drum. They could make their drums with stuff. I guess that's a good one. Most people think of them and living in these igloos. Now, this was the way they lived, hundreds of years ago. But today they live more in houses. They survived a lot off of seals because that was their main. There's nothing out there. They lived off of the sea, the rivers, anything that was around. They had a lot of dogs, as you could possibly see here. Anything they had, like with tents, they used a lot of driftwood that they found in the oceans, believe it or not. You can see here they're dressed warm. You'd have to dress warm. Now, after a while, these people are acclimated to the climate dramatically. You know, it could be 40 below zero, and they don't have their hats on. They're pretty warm. They're being outside. They're eating fish. Remember, they didn't have fires, you know, to burn stuff with as much. And you can see where these people, where it's green, that's where they were living, alongside the coastlines, where they could get food, up in this Arctic Circle. They weren't really touched by many people, but maybe the Vikings, because at that point in these areas, nobody wants to be there. And as you can see by this, in the Arctic Circle, what I did find out about these Inuits was the fact that when people came there, unlike most Indian tribes, instead of the Indians acclimating to the white man acclimated to the Inuits. They changed themselves because these guys knew how to live in the cold. They knew how to survive. They weren't really like warlike, because you don't want to get hurt or killed up there. They really, and you can see by the map here where the Inuits live now along the coast and where the Inuits used to live, which is in the yellow, which is a little bit on Greenland and these upper islands up here. So, you know, you got a big thing. Okay. And then you have the different tribes. You have the Arctic Inuit, the western side, the Copper Inuit, the Nestic, the Caribou Inuit, the Igloo Link Inuit, the Baffin Island Inuit, Labrador Inuit, and the Quebec Inuit. So you're talking Canada, a lot of Canada stuff up here. Yes, they have sleds and dogs. As you can see, you don't got much there. They would make these sleds out of whale bones, walrus, seal, because that's what the material that they had. They had dogs. They could feed the dogs fish like that to keep the dogs. Shelters. Now, we all know that they had igloos. This is a typical igloo here. Inuit housing, igloos, common winter houses. Skin tents, common in the summer. Yeah, skin's made of seal. As you can see in this picture, there's your seal tent. Skins sewed together, not much there. And then they had stone houses, common in Greenland. Well, that's the material you have around, as you can kind of see in the background. There's not much there. There's not trees. You're going to make stones. Driftwood and earth houses, common in Siberia. The Inuits, there you go. And of course, they would have a igloo type house made out of the snow. And snow is a great insulator. A very good insulator, very protective, and you got plenty of snow here to make your home out of. Housing and travel. An igloo, translated sometimes as snow house, obviously, is a shelter constructed from blocks of snow, generally in the form of a dome. Other Inuit people tended to use snow to insulate their houses, which consisted of whalebone and hides. The use of snow is due to the fact that snow is an insulator due to its low density. On the outside, temperatures may be as low as 45 below Celsius or 49 below Fahrenheit. That's pretty freaking low, people. Let's see, inside the temperature may range from 7 degrees Celsius or 9 degrees Fahrenheit, which is quite the temperature jump, to 16 Celsius or 61 Fahrenheit. That's like a summer day when warmed by body heat alone. These guys knew what they were doing. You build up a house made of snow, and just by putting your people in there, you could stay warm. Well, how about that? These people were smart as can be. Well, there you go. Anyway, there's Max Vision. And Jeannie's here. Musgrave Griffin. There you go. Thank you for coming and being here tonight and joining me. Okay, the Inuit. The life was a hard one. During the day, they hunted for food. At night, the Inuit sheltered tent homes made of animal skins or in ice igloos, a skill they learned from the Central Eskimos. They made spears, harpoons, and pipes. They passed the time storytelling, songs that told tales of hunting and hardship, accompanied by, it doesn't say. But anyway, there you go. Here's a bunch of them put together. Look at that. Well, you can't say they didn't have the best White House on the block. Look at that. All nice white houses. They would definitely pass the inspection. Okay, how they adapted. The Inuit adapted to the cold climate by building dome-shaped igloos out of snow for the winter, and in the summer, cone-shaped tents made from caribou skin. They turned into hunter-gatherers, depending on what type of food was available in the land. Okay, special characteristics. The summer months in the Arctic are July and August. By the middle of September, snow starts to fall again. The Inuits cannot plant crops. That is why they have survived for thousands of years by hunting and gathering. They moved from place to place in kayaks called hummocks, made of walrus and seal skin. The hummocks could hold up to 10 people. Their population was about 50,000. The hummocks were also used to hunt in the summer. The Inuit made houses out of snow and ice called igloos. Oh, more on the igloos. The Inuits built hard ice igloos instead of wooden houses because there weren't many trees in the area, obviously. They had to make tents out of animal fur and hides in the summer because the igloos would melt. Duh. The Inuit tribe. Here, climate. The Inuit tribe lives in the Arctic where the climate is very cold and snowy. Duh. Of course it's cold and snowy. It's the Arctic Circle, people. The Inuit ate fish, seals, whales, and caribou. The Inuit wore parkas, boots, goggles made out of wood and animal fur. The Inuit lived in igloos and tupiks. So there you go. Yeah, nothing there. Now, what possessed these people to go up there and live at the Arctic Circle and survive this way? I want to know why they didn't say, this is too damn cold. I got to work too damn hard. And then I'm not staying here. I'm getting the hell out. The Inuit, here you go. Paddle. They got a few paddles here made of wood, it looks like. Probably driftwood. Look at how he's bundled up, just sitting there on the snow. Man, I'd be freezing. Looks like he's just having a good day. Arctic natives of America building their igloo. That's quite a talent. Have you guys ever built an igloo? Come on. Anyway, there you go. You're cold. Violence is life. I'm cold here in Tennessee. That's the whole point of the show. If you're cold there in Tennessee, can you imagine how cold these people were? Okay, let's see. Let's keep going. As you can see, they're really dressed up. They are bundled. Can you imagine have to put a big coat like that on every day your whole entire life? You know, I look at these people and, you know, to put it mildly, they have clear complexions. You notice that? You know, no, I don't. You know, they don't look like they're all wrinkled up. You know, they're decent looking. They ain't all like I would think because they're in the cold and wind that they would be, you know, just dying there. Anyway, here's F Kitty. Hello, F Kitty. How you doing? Okay, let's move on. Got a lot of pictures here. They have really good complexions. Look at that. They got teeth. You know, parkas on. They look like there's even a little kid. Little kid's got a parka on. You know, I mean, don't you think they get tired of being frozen? Did you know that in those societies, suicide, especially like in Greenland, is super high? Somebody you know is going to be offing themselves. Maybe it's because there's so much darkness. Like right now, we're getting up to the 21st, which is the day of solstice, which means that it is cold, and going to be cold and dark. Yes, it's going to be dark the longest days of the year, the next 3 days, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, the longest days of the year, people. It's enough to depress anybody. Who out there is getting depressed because it's so dark? Anyway, let's get back to this. Here's these ladies. Look at, they're all dressed up. I mean, they got pretty clothes. Look at that. I mean, nowadays you go in a fancy store to try to buy something like that, it costs you $400-500 for a coat like that. But they make these themselves. I'm sure that's sealskin or caribou hide or something. But look at, they're really packing it on there. Here's some pictures of way back in the day. You got their dog, they're out fishing, bow and arrow, and dressed in their coats. Little baby down here in this boot. You know, I don't know. Here's a bunch of them. Got the kids all dressed up in their winter clothes to stay warm. Yeah. You know, I mean, what are you going to do in the winter? It's snowy out. Anything like you can do. Anyway, it's time to harvest the seal skins or the caribou or something like that. Obviously, this guy's made his own boots. He's got these slipper-like type things on, boot types. And they're butchering a something. I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, they're eating it as they butcher it, so it must be really good, I guess. Maybe it's a caribou or something. I don't know what it is. You know what it is? Please tell me. If you want to join me, because my co-host is out sick tonight, here's a link in the description, and you too can come on the show. Here's another one. Kayaks. We're going to talk about kayaks. These guys were the kayak kings. Yes, light little boat. You sit in the hole here and you float down to wherever you got to go, and you take your spear and you go out and kill a whale or something. I don't know what this is. This is something he killed, or it's just a flotation device or something. I do not know. And as you can see, they would all get their kayaks made of seal skins and whale bones and walrus bones, because they didn't have any, and they would get in them, and out they go to hunt a whale or fish or whatever they got to do. When they met the settlers that came in, the white man, they didn't get really affected, because the white man probably was like, how the hell are you surviving here? Well, they're probably saying, we dress in these nice warm clothes that we made ourselves, and we got nothing to really trade with you because there's nothing here. And just like anywhere, they would meet. You see this guy's in his igloo. They met with the indigenous peoples, and what did they do? Well, they did the thing as in all other Indian tribes. They converted them from their shamanistic ways to Christianity. In the West, it was Christianity. In the East, it was they're Protestants and Lutherans and all those good things. But the Jesuits went through there, and they converted all the Inuit peoples into good, wholesome Christians, like either that or, something. Brainwashed them all. Yes. Oh yeah. I think F. Kitty's got it figured out. Most were really friendly. The white guys butchered many tribes, even if they were peaceful on their own reasons, usually greed or land. Yeah, that is so true. And here's a picture of another tribe. I just love how they got the squint, they got squinty eyes. Why do they have that? Because if you didn't, you would be snow blind. Because when you're out there and there's nothing but snow, you better be squinting all the time. Otherwise, you're going to go blind. So there you go. Yeah. Ain't that nice? Anyway, let's keep on going. The shamans back in the day would wear masks and they would dance around and they would heal people. They would talk to the spirits. Um, the, the the Indians pretty much had one god, the Lady of the Sea. Her name was Selma. I think it's Selma. And there's a story behind that too. And if I can, I'll try to tell you the story here in a minute. F. Kitty's really onto it tonight. There are many old books shocked at their lack of social mores and women sharing. So probably that's some STD problems and smallpox. Yes, at one point in time, just like all the other Indian tribes, they were wiped out by 90%. One of their cemeteries were where they dug up live germs. Yeah, because in the cold there, when you get sick and die, you are just frozen in time. Yeah, the Lady of the Sea, Golino. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, there's a story about the Lady of the Sea, underneath the sea, and I'll get into that in a second. So let's finish this up here, and then I'll tell you the story as I kind of remember it. Here's where they live, basically on all the coastline areas, and way up there, and you can see the different types of Inuits, all the way up into Alaska, made their way down all over here, all the way down to the coast of Labrador. Here's some boots. I got a picture of these boots. Now, they look pretty comfortable, actually. Look at that. That's fur. That'll keep you warm. That ain't like shoes nowadays. You're staying warm in those. They had the original Baffins. Here's some coats. You can see sealskin coat. You notice how they have these coats where they hang down low so the wind doesn't go up your butt. You know what I mean? They had the right idea. You notice how coats nowadays, they like hang around your waist, and anything from your waist down gets freezing cold. Your top half stays warm, but your bottom half freezes. These guys had the right idea. Make it really long, and then your butt stays warm too. Okay, F. Kitty says, what I never did find in the libraries was anything saying how closely related the American northern natives were related to the ones that live in the Arctic Circle on the other side of the Pacific. Yes, that is right. Through my digging tonight, I found that the natives of the Arctic are not really related so much to the natives of the lower half of the Americas. They are more related to a small section. We'll go back to that. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So when I did this study, it said most of these people came from the north. They have a lot of northern Asian in them, meaning that they came from Asia, probably across the land bridge or sailed their boats across this narrow strip here, or maybe come up through the Aleutian Islands, and then they stayed up on the coastline, and made their way from north or west to east, and then they just stayed out of the reach of the rest of the Americas, because down here, remember, there was the Ojibways, the Hurons, the Iroquois down in here. So anything lower than this was, already populated by the other Indians. And so these, long as they stayed up here in this area, nobody was coming up there to fight with them or anything. They had it made. Maybe that's why they just stayed up there and, stayed up there. And here's them in their native dress. So basically, they're more northern Asian people, probably related to, I would say, Japan, maybe Mongolians, or things like that. I believe their pants were waterproof, but I don't know if that was all tribal clothes. Yeah, they were made of seal skin, and their boots were waterproof. I did read that. Let's see. Yeah, the probably would have been the last travelers, but Russian North natives should be fairly close related. They did some DNA testing on them, and they're a mix, a little bit of everything, and and then of course you got the Russians that came over across there too, and interbred. So it's kind of hit and miss. Okay, there's little evidence for the land bridge hypothesis. Yes. I think they got in their boats and came over. Maybe they were already with boats, and who knows? I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't believe in the land bridge theory so much either. See here, I personally think they were northern adjusted sailors and came in that way, ice hopping like the polar bears. Yes, could have been. Could have been, could have been. Could have been. Let's get on with this. Okay, what do they eat? They eat fish. Lots of fish. I guess you could go ice fishing pretty much all the time. And here's their boat. I'm trying to get some good boat pictures. But as you can see, they're probably out for a hunt. He's got a tent over here. He's in his boat covered with seal skin. He's got a harpoon. Maybe he's hunting a whale. They did that a lot. They hunted a whale. They said that they would hunt whales, and one bowhead, which they were hunting the bowhead whale, and one whale would feed an entire village all winter long. Ain't that something? Here's some better pictures of their boats. These are modern pictures because it's in color. And here they are hunting a whale. It makes me wonder, how stupid are whales? They let you just, paddle right up to them and throw a spear into their back. You'd think that they could hold their breath, go under the water, and swim away and say, heck with you. Oh, Jeannie, sorry, your eyes are closing. I bid everyone good night. Thank you, Jeannie, for watching tonight. I appreciate you coming and being here and joining us. And violence is life. Ancient rock carvings in Sweden show boats. Yes, boats were really important back in the day. That was like having a Cadillac. Okay, and you can see in their little kayak boats with the big hole in there. He's out there in his traditional gear. He's gonna harpoon himself a whale or something. He's got a paddle. He's got his kayak, and you can see it. He would be pretty protected in this little boat. Here's some spear thing. You can see it's made of ivory. He's got a wooden bone or a bone tied with some leather on there. They did a lot of carving. Obviously, they had a lot of time on their hands. And stone carvings, ivory, things like that they carved. They made their tools. You can see they made them out of ivory, a little bit of wood. Here's your war club, your coupon stick, and ivory again, carved really nice. Scrimshaw on the walrus tooth, or whatever it is that. And Okay, F Kitty. I have questions about the bears, though. Wouldn't that draw hordes? Were they ready and just added polar bears to their clothesline? Yes, they did hunt the bears. They did. Look at all these things that they got. I'm gonna blow this up a little bit and see what we can find. Looks like a skinning knife here. Maybe some nails, some ivory horns or bones, teeth, scrimshawed. You got a spearhead here for like whale hunting. You got a little tiki doll there. Knife. That's a knife. I don't know what this thing is. Some other carvings. Looks like this is a game board. Yeah, you get really bored when you're in your igloo for 6 or 8 months. Yeah, wolves were way out of control back then, too. And guess what? They just reintroduced wolves into Colorado. Boy, aren't those people smart? Tools. They get materials at hand, seals, walrus, whales, and caribou. You got to use what you got. Now, I know what this thing is. That's their sunglasses right here. You put that on, and then you got sunglasses. Let's see what else we got. They made some really nice carvings. Here's a polar bear carving. Looks like that's out of stone. You would catch your fish, and then you would dry them and smoke them. And here's a spear. Well, you see they tied it with leather. Got a sharp spear on it. I don't think bows and arrows. Here, these are fishing spears. I know that. You jab that in and a big hook stick in there and catch your prey. You got a rope on there. See, when you shoot the spear, I do know this. So here's what it does. So you shoot it, the spear, the head goes into your critter, and then it comes off. And so you keep the stick, and then you keep the rope, and then you that's how you reel it in. It's like a big fishing line. And what did they eat? They ate seals. They went, seal make an easy target. You just run up there and clunk them in the head or stab them or something before they run into the water. And as you can see, here are these guys in their boats. Well, you can put a buttload of people in these things, can't you? Ain't that amazing? And there they are catching a whale. Yes, looks like a bowhead whale. Catch the whale. That will feed a village all winter long. Plus, bones and everything will make stuff. And as you can see from by this picture, it looks like there's a whole bunch of them out here catching whales for the winter. Here's a whale, seals, more whales out here. This bunch got a bunch. I suppose you need a whole bunch of guys in that boat to paddle while you try to pull the whale away after you've killed it. Because they aren't light, man. They're not light. They weigh tons. Drag it up on shore, and of course you peel back the layers of fat. And I suppose you can melt that down and have heating oil, cooking oil, and then there's probably plenty of meat. Now remember, these people, they had a diet that would kill you. I'm not kidding. Their diet would kill you because they literally ate meat all the time. Fat. They ate fat like candy and meat and fat, fish and fat, fat. I mean, meat, fish, fat. It was not a diet that you or me could live on very long without getting sick and dying. And of course, we got the polar bear. You know how big a polar bear is? You get messed up with one of these, you are SOL. And there's thousands of them up there. Now these things, they float on the ice. They can swim real good. They do kill the polar bear, and a polar bear coat would be, super good to have. Yes, ambergris. Yeah, that's from a whale. Heartburn probably keeps them warm too. Yes. Got Grizzlies in Washington. Okay. Look at that. Big ass polar bear. You run into one of those guys, I think they're pretty aggressive too. Yeah, you will be SOL. Oh, reintroduced. Yeah, okay. Reintroduction. Yeah, yeah. Oh, they're reintroducing the grizzlies. Oh boy. Yeah, that's just what you need. Yeah, I imagine polar bear, you know, the Indians used to hunt bear and for their grease and their fat and their big fur coats and stuff. You know, bears are scary. These guys are huge and they can swim. They don't get cold. They can run for miles. Yeah, look at that. And they live out in the cold and they can literally run on the snow. You run into one of those, you're probably going to die. Okay, then we're back to their thing with the, I think I did, oh my gosh, I did my whole spiel, people. Can you believe that? Did the whole thing. Wow. Huh, interesting. There you go. It's lean meat that can kill you. Fat is essential. Very smart. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. Uh, Jack Sprat could eat no fat. His wife could eat no lean, but together they cleaned the platter clean. Ha! I still remember that from way back when. Elderberry. There's no fat needed for fuel. Oh, agree. No, the fat is needed for fuel. Yes, because remember the white man, he would come in his boats and he would hunt the whale, and they would bring it in and they would hunt the whale for the oil. And how do you get the oil? From the fat. Just like you would get lard and turn lard into oil, or renderings. I don't know how many of you have rendered lard out of renderings, which is fat. You probably done it and haven't even noticed if you don't know how that goes. It's just basically like when you fry your bacon, just take all the fat off the bacon and then you boil it for hours, and the oil comes out, and then you throw it through a cheesecloth and you do it again and again, and you get all the oil, and then when it cools, you have the lard, and that's what lard is. I've done that before. I remember when I butchered a pig, I got all the renderings, which is all the fat they cut off, and when they cut off all that fat, I would add a big pot, and I'd boil it down for hours on a really low heat, and it would all melt, and then I would sift it off, and I put it in mason jars, and I still have some here. It's I use it when I cook stuff. Oh, it's so good. It's really good stuff. It lasts for a long time in those jars, like, but anyway, Milky, Elder, and everyone else. Yes, there we go. It's giant browns, same area. Oh, but it's the giant browns in the same area that occasionally have a cave bear throwback. Yeah, they cross, the grizzly bears cross with the polar bears. I've seen that, and then they come out with a grizzly polar bear. Lamp oil from whale blubber is a major commodity. Yes, lamp oil from whale blubber. Violence is life. Good night. Good night. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. And there is Scotty boy, a little late to the party, but good as always. And, that's the way it goes. Yes, how they got those cave bears or whatever they had, I don't know, but they were crosses with something. That's all I can say. Yes, crosses, mix, hybrids. Cave bears were crosses of something. I'm glad they don't have them now, because apparently they would have been pretty vicious. They would make a polar bear look like a puppy dog. That could be something. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, we're missing David Null tonight. I tell you, I wish he was doing better, but he's under the weather, and I'm hoping that he gets back on track because you know how that goes. He is he's always missed when he is not here. Oh, it's catching up. It's catching up. Okay, let's see what else is there. Inuit life has changed greatly because of the increased contact with societies to the south. Snowmobiles have generally replaced dog sleds for transport, and rifles have replaced the harpoons for hunting purposes. Outboard motors store-bought clothing and numerous other manufactured items have entered the culture, and money, unknown in traditional Inuit economy, has become a necessity. Many Inuits were made to abandon nomadic hunting and now live in settlements and cities. They often working in mines and oil fields. They are particularly in Canada and have formed cooperatives to market homemade crafts, fish catches, and tourism. The creation of the New Canadian Territory in 1999 helped to support the revitalization of traditional Inuit culture in North America. And there you go. That's my spot on Inuits. But all I can say with that is, you know, these poor people, they have, you know, modern life has come to them, and they went from not being using money, and which is probably pretty nice, to you know, hey, gotta have that almighty dollar, and now we buy clothes and we don't hunt, and but you know, see, that's the thing. If you live in a house in the middle of Timbuktu land up there, it's, you know, dark all winter long pretty much. What can you do? What kind of job are you gonna have? Yeah, you work in a coal mine or you work in the oil field. Yeah, that's so fun. And then you get the dollar, and then you're gonna, you know how much things must cost up there. I imagine everything is 3 times as much because it has to be shipped in, and because you don't live in an igloo anymore, you live in some house. You're gonna need electricity. You're gonna need heating oil. You ain't gonna go out and get yourself a whale and boil the whale down and have a whale oil heated house. You're gonna buy some of that precious oil that's coming out of the ground, and then it has to go to a refinery and have to be refined so you can use it in your house, which is going to even cost more money. Yes, yes. And as I was reading about them, it seems that most of the people there, they they move away. About 10% of the people move away every year. And so their culture is getting smaller and smaller. There's a lot of suicide, as we talked about before. The Indians seem to have a high rate of suicide. Why that is, I suppose it's depressing being up there in the cold Arctic land with no money, in the cold with nothing around you. It's got to be a really hard life. So F. Kitty says, and their kids too. They don't want to keep the old ways because the new ways look easier. Yeah. And I think that's something to be said about the ways. It's not just because it's the ways. It's with us here. We think that this or that is the next great thing. You gotta have it. You know, I gotta have that new pair of boots. I gotta have those Nike shoes. I gotta have that new coat. I gotta have that new shirt. I gotta have that new big screen TV and the latest DVD that's coming out. I gotta have Netflix and satellite radio. I gotta have all of that to make my life good. When really, really, come on now, people. Really, do you really, we really, what do we really need? The basics. That's what these people had back in the day. They had the basics. The basics of, I have food, water, and shelter. I go out hunting. I stay healthy. I eat. I sleep. I take life leisurely and relaxed. I don't have any problems. Life is pretty darn good. No, I want better life. I want some electric lights instead of candlelight or whale oil light. Yeah, that's what I want. I want some fancy sunglasses, instead of those little peeper creepers they have. And then maybe, I want a snowmobile. But if you have a snowmobile, then you need gas. And then when it breaks down, you need parts. Well, yeah, but that's a lot faster than that caribou pulling my sleigh or a bunch of dogs that are yiping and barking all night. I just start up the snowmobile and I go to town. I can go 20 miles. Did you really need to go to town? But then if you go to town, you're going to have to spend all that gas and then parts and pieces. And then you're going to buy a bunch of junk when you're there. That means you got to get a job so you can get that money. It's a very slippery slope. And I think that's the problem with a lot of that. So instead of living out there with their caribou and living a simple life, they've traded in a simple life for the easy, hard life. If you agree or don't, I don't know. Let me know. Give me a comment. Put it in the chat, something, okay? Let's see. They are a very specialized gene pool. They suffer from modern illnesses more because it isn't good for them. Yes. I mean, when you grow, your body for 20,000 years has been growing up on, and your family from way back when has been eating caribou, whale fat, seal fat, fish. And then all of a sudden somebody says, here, have some bread, flour, water. And you know what? Make some noodles. Yeah, you got to have noodles. And how about some Twinkies? And throw in a little Debbie too. And maybe, some breads, pies, candy, cakes, and a bunch of sugar. You need some candy, right? And you know what's going to happen? You're going to get sick and die. Hey, why don't we throw in some alcohol too? Because those Inuit people weren't making alcohol way up there because they didn't have corn. They 20,000 years without corn. And all of a sudden you bring in a bottle of alcohol, you're going to get somebody sick. That's just my thoughts on it. Anyway, okay, enough of my spiel here, and I'm going to try my best imitate. Let me get this out right. David Null, and tell the story of the night. How about that? I'm doing my best here. David is thoroughly missed, and like I said, oops, I gotta look at this. Make sure that because I'm still on call, people. So and normally you wouldn't see me do that, but anyway, people in their 20s and 30s, no teeth. No meth. This is pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you, F Kitty, for all the this is a good one. No one documentary, all the young people in their 20s and 30s, no teeth. Grandma had teeth, not meth. At least not that village. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Young kids, and then you introduce drugs. And you live in the middle of nowhere in the winter, and like you see the scene here. You see any cops coming around? They do whatever they want. You smoke meth, you do drugs. I don't care, but that guy ain't. He's not gonna. There's no cop gonna show up and say, we're gonna arrest you. No, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna do drugs. You're gonna die. That's what they're. It's just the way of the world, people. You get depressed being up there in the winter cold. Not good. Anyway, here we go. The night story of the night. I'm going to hope that I can do David Null some justice. If you're out there watching, David, thank you for all your inspiration. And I'm going to try to do my best to telling the story tonight. This one here is called A Man Pursued by His Uncle and by His Wife. Told by Johnny John, who learned it from his grandmother, who lived to be 130 years old. An old man and his nephew lived together in a forest. Their house had a partition through the middle and a door at each end. The uncle never entered the part occupied by his nephew, and all the communication between the two was held by each hearing through the partition. What the other said to himself, each went in and out of his own part of the house when he liked, but neither ever crossed the threshold of the other part. After a time, the nephew discovered his uncle's true nature. He was a man-eater. One day, a woman came to the young man's part of the house. The next morning, the uncle said, "My nephew has two ways of breathing." The young man, speaking to himself, said, "My uncle is mistaken. I am talking to myself." "My nephew can't deceive me," said the old man. "There are two persons in his part of the house. I am glad that game has come to him. I am going hunting." When his uncle had gone, the young man said to his wife, My uncle knows that you are here. Now you must do as I tell you. If you don't, he will kill and eat you. 3 women have been here. He killed and ate each one of them, for they paid no heed to what I told them. Before I go away to hunt, I will bring wood and water and whatever you want, so you need not go out. If you go out, you are lost. My uncle will kill you. As soon as I leave the house, he will come back." The young man started off, but he turned back a second time and warned his wife not to disobey. The minute the nephew was out of sight in the forest and the uncle came back to the door, the old man had the power of commanding things to be done, and the person had to obey. They didn't hear or see him. He said, "Let the woman come out." But the woman had power also. When he saw that she didn't come out, he said, "Let the water she is cooking with boil away." The water boiled away, and the woman had a plenty more. The old man was angry and said, "I will get her out in one way or another." As the young man was coming home, he saw smoke rising from his part of the house. "All is well," thought he. "My uncle has not been able to kill my wife." When he went into the house, he praised the woman for her obedience. That afternoon, about dusk, they heard the old man come into his part of the house, and they knew that he hadn't brought any game. He hunted only for people. He called out, "What luck has my nephew had today?" "I've had good luck," answered the young man. The old man began to mutter to himself to blame his nephew for hiding his uncle's game. At last he said, "I will wait a while, then I will have my own." He heard 2 persons breathe, and he was angry. Determined to have something to eat, he pounded bones into bits, put the bits into a kettle, filled the kettle with water, and hanging over the fire made soup. The young man and his wife were silent. The man had decided to leave his uncle, and his plans were laid. He had walked in circles around the house, making each circle larger than the preceding one, till he had a ring 3 days' journey in circuit. Now he told his wife what she must do. That night the uncle said, "I am going away for a while. I can find no game around here." "Well," answered the nephew, "hunters go where they can find something to kill, and they often gone a long time. I am going farther myself. Game is getting scarce in our neighborhood." The young man had power. He caused the house to appear in place 6 days. journey away, then he told his wife about the house and said, I have a brother there, and I am going to send you to him. This brother is invisible. No stranger has ever seen him. Hitherto, he has accompanied me, but now he will aid you. The young man took an arrow from his quiver, shook his wife till she was only a couple of inches long. Then, taking off the flint point of the arrow, he put her inside the arrow, and replacing the point, he said, In 3 days I will follow you. Putting his arrow on the bowstring, he drew it and sent the arrow off to the east. The instant the call of the woodpecker was heard, the feathers on the arrow were from the bird, and all the way the arrow sang with the voice of a woodpecker. The young man could see the trail that the arrow left. As it went through the air, he went back to the cabin and waited. In 3 days, his uncle came back, but without game. Talking to himself, he asked, What luck has my nephew had? Good luck, said the young man. I have plenty to eat. I found nothing, said the old man. This hunting ground is barren. My eyes see no more game. But if I have no fresh meat, I have bones. I'll break them up and make soup. Then the nephew heard his uncle breaking bones. There was a terrible noise. At last the young man said, My uncle makes too much noise. My nephew wouldn't make less noise if he were in my place. I am trying to get something to eat. And paying no attention to what his nephew said, the old man kept at work. The next morning at daybreak, he said, I am going hunting. I shall be gone 3 days. I am glad, thought the young man. And as soon as his uncle was out of sight, he took the trail that he had made and followed it 3 days. Then he went directly towards the new cabin. Glancing up, he saw the arrow's trail, which looked like a rainbow in the sky. After a while, he made a long leap, and as he leaped, he ran in the air, went up far above the forest and off on a level which was still in the air. The trail of the arrow was in front of the form of a rainbow, and it seemed to roll up and dissolve in the mist as the young man passed over it. It ended up where the arrow had struck. In the cabin, at the end of the trail, he found his wife. The invisible brother saw the arrow when it struck the ground and burst. He saw the woman come out of the arrow and take her natural size. When she came into the house, he said to her, I knew you were coming. By the obedience to your husband, you have been able to make the journey. No one has ever seen me before except my brother, and he only 2 or 3 times. I know what will come from my uncle's wrath. He will pursue, and if possible, kill you. The old man came home and began to talk to his nephew. When he received no answer, he was very angry. He knew that his nephew was not at home, and going out, he looked for the trail, struck it, and found that the footprints were as old as his own, made 3 days before. Going back to the house, he muttered, I'll follow him tomorrow. The world is small. He cannot escape me. I'll follow him everywhere. The invisible brother, thought a great distance away, heard his uncle talking to himself, heard his threats, heard him say, My daughter-in-law will never get out of my reach. I can go to the edge of the world very quickly. My nephew is trying to save her. He'll not succeed. I'll eat her flesh. The next morning, the old man set out. He followed his nephew's footprints till night. Then, looking up, he saw that his own house was near, that he had been going around and around. He was angry and said, Tomorrow I will get on the right trail. As soon as daylight came, the old man started again. As he traveled, he found that the trail was going growing dim. But he kept on till midday. Then he saw that he was near his own house. "Be it so," said he. "Though my nephew is possessed with the witchcraft of all the animals, I will have his wife's flesh." He followed the trail 3 days longer. Then he reached the end of it and cried out exhaustedly, "My daughter-in-law's flesh is mine." Looking up in the air, he saw his nephew's trail. The trail of the arrow was gone, but the footprints of the nephew remained on the clouds. As the old man followed on the ground the trail that he saw in the air, he muttered to himself. The invisible brother heard his threats, and the three started for a lake that was not far away. The woman took the lead. The husband stepped in her footprints. When they came to the lake, the young man took a clam shell and threw it towards the opposite bank. Immediately, the banks came together and the three stepped over. When they had crossed and the lake had again resumed its natural size, they looked back but could scarcely see at one look the bank they had left. The young man, thinking that when his uncle came to the lake he would be long in crossing, left his wife and went to hunt for game. The old man came to the lake, ran back and forth, looking for the place to cross. At last he called out, "Daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law, how did you cross the lake?" And though the woman knew he wanted to kill her, she thought, "Why doesn't he throw a clamshell?" He heard distinctly what she said in her mind and picked up a clamshell. He threw it. The banks came together, and when the woman looked to see where the old man was, she was terrified to find him right there at her side. He caught her by the hair and said, "I knew that I should eat your flesh. My nephew has no right to keep game from me." With one blow, he cut off the woman's head. She had been left alone. The invisible brother was not there to warn her. The woman had twin boys. The old man hid the children in a hollow tree together with the woman's head. Then, putting the body on his back, he went to the lake and picking up a clamshell threw it towards the opposite bank. The banks came together and he stepped over. As he had looked back, he saw the lake spread out again. The young man, though, thought that when near home he would see smoke rising from the cabin, but he did not. My uncle's words have come true, though, thought he. She forgot my warning. He was lonesome and discouraged, and he determined never to go back to his uncle's house. While cooking supper, the young man had to go for water. As he stooped down to dip it up, he heard a voice say, "Your uncle has killed me. Your uncle has killed me." Oh, looking round, he saw that the willows were spattered with blood, and he knew from the blood out of which the voice came that his wife had been killed. He had two proofs now, his uncle's tracks and the speaking blood. The young man continued to hunt, and as he had good luck, he didn't go again to the house across the lake. One day, when he came from hunting, he saw tracks around his fire, two little trails. Though he saw fresh tracks each evening, he paid no attention to them. They looked like the tracks of a child, but he thought that a little animal made them. At last he noticed that some of his meat was gone, and at each day more disappeared. Then he resolved to catch the thief. Pieces of meat hung up to dry had been pulled down, dragged out of the house, and then pulled along the ground. The young man followed the trail. He came to a big log. The log was hollow, and the trail disappeared at the opening. He was sure that some animal lived in the tree. The next day, he started off, as usual, but but after going a short distance into the forest, he stopped to watch his house. Soon he saw two little boys come out of the log and run toward the house. They went in and after a while came out dragging a piece of meat. When they reached the log, they disappeared into the opening, pulling the meat in after them. The man thought, tomorrow I will catch those children. He knew they could talk, for as they pulled the meat along, he heard one of them say, hurry, hurry, father will come. The next morning, the young man went a short distance into the forest, hid and waited. The time seemed long, but at last the boys came from the log, ran to the house, went in and closed the door. The man hurried home, went into the house, fastened the door behind him. As soon as the children saw him, they began to cry. Why do you cry? He asked. I am your father. Don't cry. When they stopped crying, he asked, how do you know that I am your father? One boy was a little larger than the other, and when the man questioned them, he answered, an old man killed your mother. He cut off her head and hid it in the hollow log, and he put us in there too. Our mother's head is in the tree now. What do you do with the meat you take from me here? We feed it to our mother. You must stay with me now, said the father. He was kind to put them boys were glad, and they were glad to stay. He made them playthings, bows and arrows and a ball and club. Whenever he went hunting, they carried meat to their mother. One day, the larger boy said to the father, my mother is hungry. Feed her, said he. Feed her all she will eat. We will have plenty of meat. You can take as much as you want. Soon the man saw the meat was disappearing very fast, faster than he could bring it in. He was frightened. One of the boys noticed this and said, my mother eats a great deal. We can't carry her enough. And he asked his father to go and see her. The man went to the log and looking in, saw two great eyes in a skull. What can we do? Asked the boys. I'm afraid, said father, that after she has eaten all the meat, she will eat us. We must go to some place far away, said the boys, so that she will have to travel a long time to overtake us. We can't feed her. She never gets enough, and we are tired. The man knew it would soon be impossible to satisfy the head, so he said, we will go away from here. You will start in the morning and travel till you come to a large village. My dogs will go with you as far as the village, and then they will come back to help me. The boys started, and after they had gone quite a distance and were tired, the larger dog said to the larger boy, sit on my back. Then the smaller dog said to the little smaller boy, sit on my back. The boys did as told. The dog ran swiftly. After a long time, they came to a place where trees had been felled. Then they said to the boys, we are near the village. You must walk now. The boys were unwilling to walk, but the dogs, shaking themselves as if they had just been in water, threw them off and told them to go to the village. The dogs turned then and went back to their master. A man knew that by going south, he would find uncles who would help him, just such powerful men as his old uncle. When the dogs came back, they told their master that they would stay till the last meat was gone, but he must go, for as soon as the meat was eaten, the head would fly in the direction he took. They would delay it all they could, but he must travel fast, for his life was in danger. The man started towards the south and went with great swiftness, for he was a fast runner. 2 days after he left, One of the dogs overtook him and said, "The meat is gone and the head is trying to find the boys. It can follow as far as they walked, but no farther. Be on your guard, for it will find your trail." The dog could see a great distance. It looked back and said, "The head is coming. You have always said that no one could outrun you. The time has come when you must exert all your strength." When the head started, the dogs left behind did what they could to delay it. They bit it, and when it turned to pursue them, they dodged into the ground. It went on, and again they sprang at it, and when it turned, they again escaped into the ground. The trail of the head could be seen plainly, for the bark was gnawed from the trees where the dogs kept it back, delayed it, and made it angry. All at once, far off in the west, one of the little boys said to the other, "Our father is in trouble. Our mother is following him." Soon a dog came up to the man and said, "The head is possessed of such power that we don't know how to keep it back. We are doing what we can, but you must run with all your strength." The man ran with all his speed. Seeing a house, he darted into it and called out to an old man sitting there, "Uncle, help me. A terrible head is following me to take my life." "I will help you all I can," said the old man, "but hurry to the next house. Your aunts live there. They will help you. If I am killed, a dark cloud will go up into the sky." The man was about halfway between the two houses when he heard a terrible noise, and looking back saw the flying head had reached the uncle's house, and his uncle was fighting with all his strength. When he turned a second time, he saw a great black cloud rise into the sky, and he knew that his uncle was dead. That minute, one of the dogs came to the man and said, "Your uncle is dead. He was never beaten before." When the head had devoured the old man's flesh, it rushed after the husband. The man ran as fast as he could, and almost exhausted, he saw a house, ran into it, and called to the woman sitting there, "Help me, help me. Something is following me to take my life." "Poor man," said one of his aunts. "Hurry on. We will do what we can to delay the head. Go to the next house. Your mother lives there. Maybe she can help you." The man wasn't out of sight of the house when he heard a great noise and heard his aunts call to the children to have courage. The head flew into the house and bit at everything it came in contact with. The woman beat it with clubs. The man heard the blows fall on the skull. When he was halfway into his mother's house, all was still at the aunt's house. Suddenly, his invisible brother called out, "Run, run, or we are all lost." The invisible brother urged the man forward, pushed him, and seemed to run faster. The brother urged and pushed till they reached the house. Then the man cried, "Mother, help me, help me." "Poor son, you are in great trouble," said the mother. "Go on, we will do what we can." The man hurried through the house. The head came in as he went out. The dogs ran around the house and urged their master on. The mother called to her children, "Kill the head if you can. Fight with all your strength." They took their most poisonous weapons and began to strike the head. One of the women stumbled and fell. The head devoured her in an instant. The old mother cautioned her children, telling them to be careful and make no misstep. The youngest girl remembered there was bear's oil in the house, though she would boil it, see if it couldn't kill the head with boiling oil. While the head was chasing the women through the house, the oil began to boil, and then the girl seized the kettle and threw the oil onto the head. It burned and killed the head. "Your brother is free," said the mother. "We ought to have a game of ball. It is our duty to give thanks. The head will be the ball. She picked up the head, carried it out, and called in a loud voice, "Here, warriors, is the ball for you to play with." Soon a great many people with netted clubs in their hands came and began to play ball. These players were animals that lived in the forest. The man saw them playing with his wife's head. Each one struggled to get the ball, and in that way they wore it out. One of the dogs said to him, "Your wife is dead, and you are safe." When it said, "Your wife is dead," the man's strength left him. His arms dropped down, and he was very sad. "You are sorry," said the invisible brother, "but I am glad." "Why should you be sad? She would have devoured you if you had not killed her. Now that there is no one to harm us, our uncle will not trouble us again. Your children are living off in the direction," said he, pointing to the west. "Go and find them." So saying, he turned and went to the brother, looked after him, he said, and disappeared. The man and his dogs traveled towards the west. When the dogs left the children, they were near a house at the edge of the village. In the house lived an old woman and her granddaughter. One day, when the girl was in the woods, stooping down to pick up a broken boughs, she heard voices. She listened, and as the wind came toward her, she discovered that they were the voices of the children. She went home with her wood, told her grandmother that she had heard children crying, and asked her to come to the forest and listen. It was a pleasure to know that there are children alive. "They must be for us," said grandmother. "We will go and find them." When they came to the place where the girl had heard the voices, she said, "Now listen." "True," said the grandmother. "There are children in the woods. We must look everywhere till we find them. Maybe they are sent to us because we are alone." The girl followed the sound, going in the direction from which the wind came. She could hear distinctly, and she knew the sound came from near the ground. At last she came to where the boys were, and they were apparently about a year old, one a little larger than the other, and both were crying. The girl began to comfort the children and to tell them she would be their mother and be kind to them. While she was talking to her grandmother she pitied the children and said to them, "Stop crying. It will be of the Great Spirit, and you should be our children. I will be your grandmother, and my granddaughter will be your mother. All we have will give to you," said the girl. "I will love you as your mother would." Yeah. The boys stopped crying and went home with the girl. Each boy had a little bow and arrow and a ball and club that his father had made for him. "We will take care of these children," said the grandmother. "There are many people in our village, but not a child. I have lived here a long time, but I have never seen a little child." When the boys were old enough to hunt for birds, their grandmother gave them bows and arrows, and they brought in a great deal of game. One day, the larger boy called, "Grandmother, come and see what I have killed. It is covered with spots. It is over here in the weeds." "Where is it? Where is it?" asked grandmother. The boys led the way, but she could hardly keep in sight of them. The weeds were so high. On reaching the spot, she found a fawn a few hours old. She carried the fawn home and said to herself, "I am thankful that I have these children. They will be great hunters. Their game is getting larger. First they killed birds, now they have killed a fawn." One day the larger boy said, "Our father is coming." "I am afraid our father is dead," answered the other boy. The grandmother overheard this and told the boys to go and hunt for birds. She was angry or hungry for bird meat. The next day, while the children were out, a man came to the house. The invisible brother had told the man that when he came to the old woman's house, he must say, "Grandmother, I am glad to see you." And to the girl, "Sister, I am glad to see you." As the man went in, he saluted the old woman as grandmother, and to the girl, he said, "Sister." One of the boys said to the other, "Our father has come." "I don't think so," said his brother. "Our father had dogs. There are no dogs with this man." To find out, he raised the skin door a little, and looking in, he saw his father sitting there with his elbow on his knee and his face in his hands. "We must find the dogs," said the larger boy. They followed their father's tracks, and they hadn't gone far when they found that the dogs had run off in another direction. They tracked the dogs, and toward night they found them standing by a fallen tree. The dogs heard the children's voices and ran to meet them. They were glad to see the boys, and as the boys were to see them. "We must go home," said the brothers, but they didn't know the way. The dogs took the lead. It was late at night and very dark when they got home. When the boys didn't come, the grandmother and granddaughter were frightened. They were waiting for daylight to come so they could hunt for them. When they came to the grandmother asked, "Why did you stay so long and frighten us?" The father was happy to be with the children again. The girl was the man's sister, and the old woman was his grandmother. They all lived together now and were happy. The end. Well, there's your story for tonight. I hope I did David Null justice in telling the story. Do you guys want a card? Yes, I have cards. And if you excuse me for 1 second, I will talk amongst yourselves, people. Talk amongst. Okay, I'm back. Hey, Chloe. Chloe's in the house. Didn't see you there. Merry Christmas to you, or Merry, what do you call it? Oh, the wrong cards. Fudge. I thought these were the right cards. These are the wrong cards. I thought I had the other deck of cards here. I don't know. After the move, I don't know where all the cards are. This not the deck. Huh. Well, that sucks. David, where are you with the cards for tonight? Wait that. Give me a second. Hold on, people. You want a card? Here's back in the day. I gotta go find the. Okay, I'm back. I found them. I found them. I'm so happy. I could not find the cards. I got piles and piles of flipping cards everywhere. And there's going to be an Oracle of Angels or the Moon cards, but we can't do those. We're going to do these. We got the sacred path cards. That's as close as I can get to the Indian cards. As you can see, we got the sacred path cards right here. And this is the deck I'm going to be using tonight. I wish I could read out loud like that. That was really, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm getting better. When I first started out reading stuff, it sucked. Go back and watch some of my earlier videos. I sucked at it, but I'm getting better. You know, it's one of those things you got to practice on and you learn and you just get better and better as you go. And I try as much as I can. Remember, everybody, send David Null some healing. He is ill and he's not feeling good. And, you know, he needs a little bit of encouragement from us to get better. So I appreciate all of you to send him a little bit of healing energy. Yeah. This one, clubs and head chopping. Yeah, they all have head chopping. Why that is. Chopping heads off, eating flesh, all that good stuff. Yeah, let me get a drink here. I will. Yeah, see, that makes no sense. The only thing I can think about why did they got to feed her meat and why is the head flying? None of it makes any sense. But it is a good crazy story, right? Oh man, who comes up with this stuff? Right? Oh man, head chopping and these cannibals. Yeah, they're all cannibal stories. There was a lot of it going on. There was a pushback like ancient Greece. There was God said it was bad to eat. Yeah, maybe somebody had to teach them not to, you know. Okay, so we got the Sacred Indian cards. I got this deck when I went to Glacier National Park. And if you've ever been to Glacier, you know, as well as I do, that you have to drive through the Blackfoot country. So you got to go drive through the Blackfoot Indians area, and you get there, and they have a lot of Native American stuff around that spot. So it's a lot of fun. Ooh, they've got pretty colored cards, and I'm going to pull a card for tonight. Now, this ain't animal cards like David Null has, but we're still going to have a card. That's the important part. So I'm shuffling the deck here. I'm going to put them in. Maybe I'm not a professional card doer, but I'm getting better. You know, I have my days and my meditation and stuff going on, and I am a wizard. So there you go. And the card is Whirling Rainbow. There you go. We have Whirling Rainbow, fitting for this time of year, right? Whirling Rainbow. 18. And I hope everybody's doing good. I really enjoy doing this show. I really do. Oh, I don't know how to find it. Gee, Whirling Rainbow. I guess I have to look it up in the thing. Number 18. 153. I guess that's the quickest way to do it. Whirling Rainbow. Here we go. Let's see. Gotta use my flashlight because that's what we got. Okay, Whirling Rainbow. Giver of life. I gotta turn this light down. Turn it down too much, and it makes all kinds of stuff. Whirling Rainbow, giver of life. Through your cleansing rains, uniting all colors, the children of earth will walk in peace again. Whirling Rainbow prophecy. Your warriors now arise, sisters and brothers in harmony, your light in their eyes. Whirling Rainbow, touch our hearts. We will surely fly, never lonely or apart, our whirling colors in the sky. Oh, I love that. Okay, to the Navajo and the Hopi, the swirling or the whirling rainbow woman is the bringer of friendly rains, the nurturer, the three sisters, corn, squash, and beans. Yep, three sisters. During the summer, so that the people will be fed. Many times an image of the whirling rainbow is created in the sand. Painting, an ancient sacred healing art performed by the medicine clan of those nations. The whirling rainbow woman comes from all four directions and curves like a swastika, covering all directions. The outside of the sacred circle is protected by another. The whirling rainbow woman bleeding her body into the space below, creating a cup shape to catch the rain and protect the circle. Without the rain, the three sisters will die and the people will not be fed. The whirling rainbow is the promise of peace among all nations and all people. You hear that? We need peace between all nations and all people, especially in this time where we might be going to war. The rainbow race stresses equality and opposes the idea of a superior race that would control or conquer the other races. The rainbow race brings peace through the understanding that all races are one. That's right, people. We're all human. Those people and these people, why are they fighting? Can't they realize that we're just human? Doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you are. The unity of all colors, all creeds, working together for the good of the whole, is the idea that is embodied in the whirling rainbow. When all pathways to wholeness are respected by all cultures, the prophecy of the whirling rainbow will be completed. It just tells you that, if we just all work together, what could we accomplish? If we didn't fight amongst ourselves, what great things would we do? If we weren't so greedy and wanting what somebody else had, maybe these Eskimos really did have something to tell us, and we destroyed them. We wrecked their culture. We made them greedy. We made them work for money when they had everything they needed. They didn't have money. They had just very little. They live in an ice house. They have the clothes on their back and they eat every day. And they live. And that's the thing. It's about living and being in your world without greed or prejudice to others. We're all human. We're here to live life and enjoy things, and somebody has put a price tag on that. You can only have so much. If you don't work harder, you don't get anything. And why do we need so much? Really, why do we need so much? Why is it? It's greed. It's corporations that want more money and more stuff and want you to work harder. And then somebody else wants you to have more. And then so they propagandize you and then believe that you need more. And instead of joining your fellow humans, well, you're ready to, give them the big old finger and say, heck with you, I'm doing my own thing and I'm going to get all the stuff and you're lazy and you didn't get nothing and tough luck. Or you go to war because they don't believe what you believe, or maybe they're on some land that you think is yours and maybe it's not. Can't we just come together? Maybe these holidays are all brought together with some false perception of a Christmas thing going on, but maybe it's just the peace and the harmony that we need. Maybe joy and peace is really a good message. The rainbow brings everything together. It's really it's a big circle. When the rain falls, the food grows and it makes a rainbow. It brings everything together. And that, I guess that's what I see out of it for a message for all of you. So enjoy the rainbow. I know it's winter, but think of the colors and think of how unity and uniting with fellow people could be your blessing for the season. Think about the people closest to you. Yeah, there's my message from that card. So I hope you enjoy it. The rainbow card. Why does it always do that? The rainbow card. There you go. Like a swastika or anakarana. That's what it reminds me of, an anakarana. There you go. So with that, thank you. I'm sorry that Hawkeye wasn't here. I'm sending him good wishes, and I will let you know. I'm sure he will watch this, and he will be happy that I did the best I could reading. And thank all of you for being here tonight. Elderberry, thank you. Chloe, thank you. I hope you're doing great. I want to order some of them crystals from you, but I don't have your address. F. Kitty, thank you for all your wise wisdom. It seems like you've studied on this so much, and I appreciate all of the comments and all the information you've shared with us tonight. Elderberry, I hope your chickens are doing good, because mine aren't laying. I'm going to put a light on them this weekend. Richard, yes, beautiful card. Thank you for being here. Lucky Stone, thank you. Reading out loud on video takes practice. I need to do that. Yes, takes practice. I've been doing this, 3 years now, and I'm just starting to get halfway decent. Hawkeye's had a whole lifetime of doing it. You know, who else is here? I know Jeannie's gone. She had to go to bed. Max Vision was here to say hi. Scotty Boy's probably still listening unless he wandered off. No was here. I hope you're listening. Thank you all. You know, violence is life. You had to leave. Yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. I know 'tis the season coming up, and this weekend, we're going to have a great guest on this weekend. Our Wayne Steiger is going to join me on Saturday night for a great show. And we're going to be talking about Christmas. And you know what he's going to say about that. So anyway, the fun never stops here. Thank you, everybody. Much love to you all. Remember, go out, do something nice. Oh, don't forget, Thursday night, I'll be on Ryder Lee's show, Raised by Giants. Don't forget to tune in there and catch me and Nina and whoever else he has on. And then, like I said, Saturday night, I will have our Wayne Steiger on for my guest, and we'll be talking about the lies of Christmas. Anyway, will Santa get his cookies and milk? Probably not in my house, but I can spread unity through the rainbow card. So with that, remember, everybody, go out, be nice to your neighbor, not just this time of year, but all the times a year, because that's the most important thing. And with that, everybody, be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love y'all. Peace, everybody.